Hi guys, it's Crystal with Design Bundles. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a t-shirt with your silhouette. So let's go ahead and get started. Today I am using the basic edition of Silhouette Studio. So if you guys are using the basic edition, we're going to come up here, hit file, we're going to hit open. And then what you're looking for is one of these files that ends in DXF. So just like this. You can't bring in an SVG if you guys are using the basic edition, but you can bring in a DXF as well as a PNG if you guys were doing print and cut. So we're going to go ahead and click on this one right here and hit OK. Now the one thing to keep in mind with a DXF file is they're not attached. None of these tiny pieces are attached. So from the inside little pieces here, like this, as well as like this little eye, nothing is attached. So number one, you could go ahead and select everything and hit control and click on your mouse, and then you guys are going to be able to change it to a compound path. So for me, I'm actually going to do this in layers. So I want this to be different colors. So I'm going to select what I want to do here first, and then I'm going to hit control, right click, and I'm going to hit make a compound path. Once we do this, now that's all attached, I can change the color. So I'm going to come up here, click this box, and boom, change it to black. Now I'm going to go ahead and proceed to do the exact same thing to the other pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of the next pieces that I want. If it selects more than what you need, let go and do it again. All right, so I'm going to hit control, right click, make a compound path. And then this time I'm going to come up here and change this to an orange. So this one's going to be a glitter HTV. All right, so let's go ahead and proceed forward. So we're going to go ahead and do the next one here. Select everything, control, right click. Now if you were using a Windows, you would hit left click and simply select make a compound path. So we're going to go ahead and click on it here, change our color to black, and then I'm going to go ahead and choose our last layer right here. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing. Control, right click, and then I'm going to go ahead and change to make a compound path. We'll change our color, and I actually didn't change make a compound path just yet. I'm actually going to change the color and show you you can do it after the fact. So I could select everything, change the color, then I can hit control, right click, so you can see how it's colored everything, even the inside of the O as well as the A. But I'm going to select everything again, right click, and hit compound path. So if you forget to hit compound path, that is what's happened. So now all of these pieces are, connected, the ones I've highlighted. So now what I want to do is I want to size everything. I'm going to go ahead and select everything, and then I'm just going to use this little box right here in the corner to size it down to what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this down, trying to figure out about how big I want this to be. So I'm going to go ahead and size it out to something maybe right about here, maybe like 10.2, I think will look pretty good. So I've got this on an adult extra large, so that's why I've kind of made it much bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and just go a little bit further, and I think I'm pretty much going to be happy with this. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back up just a little bit here and just kind of make some minor adjustments just like so until I'm pretty much happy. So I think I'm happy with this. Everything looks good. So now what I want to do is we're going to go ahead and make sure what machine. I've got my machine set to the Cameo Plus. So today I'm using the Silhouette Cameo Plus 4. I'm going to not using a matte, so I changed it to none, and then my material to a 12 by 12. Now what I want to do is I'm going to remove the colors that we're not doing just yet. So I'm going to move this one out of the way as well as this one right here. Now what I want to do is select everything, and I'm just going to attach them. So I want to select everything, and we're going to come up here and hit group. So this is just going to group them together and make it one solid piece. So at this point, I like to come up to the top and hit object and then mirror it. You can definitely do this here in a minute. I'm going to flip it horizontal. You can do this here in a minute, but I always like to do it right away just in case I forget. All right, so now we're ready to go. We're going to go over here to send. And then from here, we're going to choose our material. And I'm using an auto blade, so it's just automatically going to change those settings for me. So everything looks good. You can see where everything's going to cut out in red. So what I'm going to do is come over here to my materials, bring it down. And all you simply have to do is type out heat, hit enter, and it's going to bring up all these different heat transfers. We're looking for heat transfer smooth because I'm using Caesar Easy Weed at first. and I'm going to hit send. Now before we hit send, we're going to go ahead and load our material. See, at this point you could go ahead and mirror it if you'd like. So let's go ahead and load it here. Once again, I'm not using a mat, so you just want to make sure that you have it underneath both of those white feet, and then you want to go ahead and hit the down button to insert it a little bit further. So it's going to go ahead and cut out our first color here. So we're going to cut out that black HTV. So now let's work on the next layer. We're going to go back to the design tab here, move this one out of the way, and we can bring this one in. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this time you don't have to mirror it. You're simply just going to bring it right over, and then we're going to go ahead and hit send. Now I'm setting it on the mat where I want it to cut on the mat. So wherever I'm putting it, this is where, which I'm not using a mat, but how far down on the material I want to cut. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send. And then from here, we are going to come up to our chest settings and we're going to change it because now we're using heat transfer glitter. So I'm going to type in heat, and then we will simply type in heat, hit enter, and then now you can see heat transfer glitter. So you can see flocked as well. That was another choice I thought about choosing, but I decided to go with the glitter. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and hit send, and we can mirror it from here. So once we hit send, you can see it says send mirrored. So we're going to do that. So let's go ahead and load our material first. So before you hit the send button, you got to load your material first. So you're just going to go ahead and hit the down arrow and hold that in until you get it as far in as you want it to be. So you can see with that auto blade, it's going to go ahead and change it to the settings. That Silhouette's pretty much played around with these and got it set. Now you may want to do a test cut first just to see if you want to up it a little bit. All right, so now what we're going to do is go back to design, move this one out of the way, and do our last layer. So this is another one. For this one, I'm using another piece of just regular Caesar Easy Weed, and this is a lighter orange color. So I'm going to go ahead and hit mirror here, and then we're going to go ahead and flip it horizontal. So you have to select it first, go to mirror, flip horizontally, and then I'm going to go ahead and send it. That's just something that I just have gotten into the habit years ago, and I have still done it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and type in heat here, and we're going to change it back to heat transfer smooth. All right, so we are ready to go. So once we've got our material loaded, we can go ahead and send it over. And I'm going to say send as is because I've already mirrored it. All right, so let's go ahead and load our last color right here. Now, depending on how big of a material that you are using, you can adjust these feet. Like I said, you want to make sure that it's under both white rollers, and then we're going to go ahead and let the machine do its job and cut it out for us. So next up, we are ready to go. So here's our stuff already cut down. So what we want to go ahead and do is, cut everything down, trim off any excess, and go ahead and get our heat press set. I've got it at 315 for 30 seconds. And so I'm just going to go ahead and quickly trim everything down and weed out everything. So I like to go ahead and make sure I save material so I don't waste anything. So since with the Silhouette, I like to load in a little bit of extra. That way there's enough room for it to kind of go back and forth underneath the wheels. So we'll go ahead and do that and get everything out of our way. And we'll go ahead and trim down our last one right here. And then we're going to go ahead and weed everything out. Now, a little trick here is, as you guys can see here, this one weeds pretty easy. So I'm just going to zip right through this one. So for this one, it's a little bit tough. Sometimes when your HTV gets cold, so in, cooler weather, or for me, I keep my room nice and cold with my air conditioning, your HTV can get cold and maybe a little bit harder to weed. If you'll hover your iron over it for just a few seconds, it'll be a whole lot easier. All right, so let's go ahead and preheat our area. So we're going to go ahead and pull out all the moisture as well as just smooth everything down. So I'm using a 100% cotton t-shirt today, and I love this one. It's a little bit of an oatmeal color. It's really, really cute. So I thought it would be perfect for the fall weather. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just do this for around 15 seconds. You want to make sure that you're covering any of the area that you're going to be applying your HTV. You definitely don't want to skip this step. All right, so let's go ahead and get our first layer here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim off this excess. Sometimes this just gets in my way, and I really like to have a nice clean edge here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way. And what you want to do is you want to fold your design in half and figure out where that center is and get a little pinch here. This is going to really help you center up your t-shirt. What you need to do is come down around 3 fingers or so, and then you're going to line it up with that neck tag. We actually have some rulers here that you can actually download from design bundles and make your own using cardstock. So you can do that. You can use a glow forge and all of that stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and take and press this. We've got it at 315, but you don't need to press it for the full 30 seconds the very first time. You only need to press for maybe like 10 seconds or so. This is just going to get an initial tack down, so that way you're not overheating. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and lift this up. Now, I like to kind of let mine cool down just a little bit. Some of them you can peel right away, but for example, like this one, I had to let it cool down just a little bit because it's not really fully tacked down. Let's go ahead and line up our next color here. So I'm going to go ahead and just line everything up. You could always refer back to your design to make sure you're putting it in the correct position. Now, since this one right here is not going to overlap the other one, we can line it up at the exact same time. So I know that it's glitter, but you can always up your heat press for that final press. So we're going to go ahead and just line that up there, and I'm going to cover everything with a parchment paper. You could always recover it with the plastic that you peeled off the first time, the carrier sheet, but I'm just going to use a parchment paper. So I'm going to go ahead and press this here. So we're just going to go ahead and press all of this for just maybe around, 10 seconds or so. Once again, we don't have to fully apply that heat for this round. We could save that for the end. All right, so let's go ahead and move this out of our way. We're just going to move this parchment paper. And when it comes to both of these ones, I don't have to let them cool. They were ready to go. So we're going to peel that. And now I went ahead and upped my iron to 320 for 30 seconds. So that way it's a little bit higher for that glitter. And then this is our final press. So when it comes to your final press, you want to do that full 30 seconds. Now, if you were using a heat press, I would have it for around 305 for 15 seconds. Let's go ahead and move our iron, remove our parchment paper, and there you have it. How super cute is this design for this fall? I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.